Hello everyone, my name is Joe Ginexi. I'm the producer of Coffee with Kupke. Before we start today's episode, I just want to make a quick announcement and invite you all to a live recording of the next episode of Coffee with Kupke as Father Paul Manning and Monsignor Raymond Kupke spill the coffee and answer audience questions right here at St. Paul Inside the Walls. The event will take place Wednesday, September 24th at 7:30 p.m. at 205 Madison Avenue in Madison, New Jersey. If you'd like to join us, we ask that you please register on our website at insidethewalls.org. You can find all the pertinent information in the show notes of this episode. We hope to see you there.
Welcome, Monsignor Kupke, to Coffee with Kupke.
Thank you.
The last time we were together, we
finally got Bishop Rodimer ordained.
Yeah, that's right. And we were talking about life in the diocese under his tenure. I think one of the details we ended with was the number of priests that were serving in our diocese. And I think you mentioned how challenging it was to create, with the numbers of priests and maybe limitations of space, how challenging it was to create fraternity among the priests, and that Bishop Rodimer had a solution for this.
Yes.
Do you remember what it was?
Yes, the priest convocation. This is one of his earliest innovations or,
initiatives, yeah.
Yeah, bringing all of us together at a resort in the Poconos. Basically, to be introduced to and look at a priest fraternity program being sponsored. I forget the name of the priest that was pushing it. It was a Trappist priest, actually.
Was it Dwyer?
Vincent Dwyer.
Yeah.
So...
and that was, did it have a name, the model? Was it priest support groups?
Yes.
But there was some
name, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it would have involved setting up priest support groups, so, little cells of 10 or 12 priests, kind of by attraction, if you will, that would meet on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And for fraternity, prayer, shared prayer, support, yeah.
So I, as a young priest, heard about the priest convocation, which I think was at Mount Airy Lodge.
Mount Airy Lodge.
Now, was that like a honeymoon place?
It was.
So and I guess the price was right.
There weren't that many places. There was no place in the diocese itself at that point.
Well, you could house a big group and
could house a big group, and was not that far away that everybody couldn't get there, and plus it was the off season, so to speak.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. You got a good
but
deal.
it produced all kinds of funny stories,
bad jokes. Yeah.
I think my recollection is that there were like 6 honeymoon couples and 220 priests in this place at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know what their, legends about their honeymoon was like, but
wow.
They would be lolling in the pool and suddenly 40 priests would jump in,
That would make for some good jokes. What's interesting is that I was ordained in 1985 and roped into one of these priest support groups.
Yeah.
That had about 10 guys, a very motley crew.
Yeah.
And I think as a young priest, our vocation director kind of mandated, I was living with the vocation director in the rectory. And I'd say that went on for a couple of years, but then petered out.
It petered out.
Yeah.
But, it was an effort to replace mannerisms and methods of priestly fraternity that had existed earlier before the council, like, the 40-hour devotion parties, where you'd basically invite all the priests in the neighborhood.
And weren't there required days
yes,
for priests?
Junior days
like study
junior
days or
clergy
something?
study days,
Yeah.
all of that. Monsignor Joe Gallo was the moderator of those days in the pre-council
Oh,
era.
interesting. Yeah. This is an aside, but uh, a bishop can say to his priests, I want you to all come to this.
Right.
And probably 2/3 of them will.
Yes.
Was that the same back then?
Yeah, it was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were, there are some guys who
Will do
will
their
come
own
up
thing.
with a reason why they cannot come.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, a bishop can push.
Well, I may have used this.
Do you really want to make it a Waterloo over something like this?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And I may have used this analogy on Coffee with Kupke before, but I say most people think that the church operates on a military model where the Pope gives a command and the bishop salute, and the bishop gives a command and the priest salute. That's the military model. That's not the church.
That's not the case.
I say the church is more like, well, the role of the Pope and the bishop, they are more
like a cattle drive.
Yeah, I always say,
and you lose a few cattle on every drive.
I say the father of adult children, right? The bishop is the father of adult children. How do you get your adult children on the same page? It's not by dictum or command, cajoling, encouraging, doing the best you can. Yeah.
Knowing that there are going to be a few that will
not be there.
Will not work.
Yeah.
But probably the first one had the best attendance because
the convocation.
We had a new bishop, so even though we all knew him, this was still a new style, so everybody was curious.
Yeah.
And secondly, this whole concept of all getting together, was completely different. But even then, there would be guys saying, "Well, I can't leave my parish for 3 days."
Yeah. So this era under Bishop Rodimer is in some ways the decline of Catholic schools. I mean, the decrease in number of Catholic schools.
It reached a peak just before him, really.
Catholic schools reached their peak
before Rodimer, and then
in terms of growth.
Yeah, and then there were not that many closures under Rodimer, maybe toward the very end of his time.
Yeah.
But then it became almost like an avalanche.
Yeah. Well, the last school to be opened
was Sacred Heart in Rockaway.
In 1965. Right? So there had been no new schools founded in 20 years.
Right.
But at the Jubilee year of 1987, there were 65 elementary schools and 13 high schools, which blew me away.
Yeah.
But we start to regionalize.
Well, especially in the city of Paterson, we start out doing that. There are schools, I think, that regionalized and disappeared then very quickly, like the Bishop Nava Regional School. I don't think most people would even know what that was.
I know, so I have that down there. What was the Bishop Nava School?
It was an attempt to regionalize a couple of the inner city schools in Paterson, St. Agnes.
Okay.
Now, first of all, these parishes still had schools at this point.
High schools?
No, grammar schools.
Okay.
St. Agnes, St. Michael's, they all still had schools. And they regionalized. St. Agnes's building was ancient of days at that point. So they came together into a regional school, but it didn't last very long.
Yeah, so Bishop Nava School opened and closed quickly.
I don't think it lasted a decade, really.
Oh, okay. That's longer than I thought. What about, I also have a note here, Passaic Catholic.
Passaic Catholic is another attempt to pull together. I mean, at that point, it's hard, even I had trouble imagining this, but at that point, we had 8 elementary schools in the city of Passaic. 10 if you count the 2 Byzantines, both of which had schools.
Okay.
And a Catholic high school, and of course now they are all gone. Not one of them is open.
Now, do you remember the years of Passaic Catholic?
I don't, but this was another attempt to try and pull together some remnant. I think it started with merging St. Stephen's, the Hungarian school,
Yeah.
which had a relatively newer building than
Mm.
most of the others, with St. Mary's, and it worked for a couple of years, and then
Was Passaic Catholic?
when you merge them, people did not take into account. I mean, this is easy for me to say in retrospect, but they didn't take into account that the base thing about the American Catholic parochial school system is the parochial part, the parish.
Yeah.
Once you regionalize it,
People don't
one
feel
parish
connected. Yeah.
has skin in the game completely, and
Yeah.
they go quickly.
Yeah. Was Passaic Catholic related to John Paul II? Was that?
No,
that was a different.
That's another.
Yeah, merger.
John Paul II was a strange merger because it didn't involve Clifton at all. It just happened to have a building there.
Right.
John Paul II was a merger of St. Joseph's in Paterson and the Cathedral School in Paterson.
Okay. And that lasted, I want to say, about 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had a relatively decent run by comparison.
Yeah.
Partly because of the Salesian sisters and their...
Oh, yeah, for sure. So another interesting note, Seton Hall University had a campus in Paterson.
Yes. At one point, it had a number of campuses. It had a Jersey City campus. It had a downtown Newark campus. It had the law school. Gradually, that all got pulled in. But basically, where Passaic County Community College is today in downtown Paterson, that was the Paterson campus of Seton Hall.
Wow. Interesting. How long did that last?
Maybe 10, 15 years.
Okay.
It was interesting because at that point, Our Lady of Victories in Paterson was serving so many different venues, but it was the University Church of Seton Hall.
Yes.
As well
I remember
as
us talking about that.
the Black Catholic Church, and then the Latino Church, and then the Gypsy Church, and and the St. Jude Novena. They had more angles in the fire than
yeah. And was that was it Coletta?
No, this would go back to Puma, and even past Puma, actually. Monsignor Pfister is the one who started the old St. Jude Novena as a way to revitalize the parish and keep it.
Yeah.
He was sent to close the place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Didn't want to do that.
Yeah. Somewhere along the line, in his new episcopacy, Bishop Rodimer decides that he needs to work on vision and mission.
Oh.
So, do you want to? He ultimately produces
a vision statement. Yes.
Yeah, with the consultation. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Not much.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, vision statements were the in thing at the time. Everybody was making vision statements. Pretty much all the visions were the same. There's a limit to how much you can tweak a vision,
or the mission
between
of the
one
church.
parish and another one. It's the mission, the vision of the church. But Rodimer did come up with a formal document that
it's called a mission statement,
right? That kind of spelled out some directives, not so much directives, but hopes for where this vision would go in the Diocese of Paterson. But
do you remember
very much like the Second Diocesan Synod, it kind of fell flat because time was moving faster than anybody's vision statement could.
Do you remember how soon into his episcopacy he did this?
It was a couple of years. It was not immediately.
Because I remember I might have been in college or seminary and being, I think going to, for some reason, maybe it was as seminarians, we went to the rollout of the mission statement. Was it at St. Mary's Abbey?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I think I was there.
The prelude, though, to the mission statement was Rodimer's famous tour of the parishes of Paterson.
The famous tour.
Yes.
So
Rodimer, when he became bishop, instead of taking things for granted, he could have easily said, I have been here all my life.
Right, I know the place.
I know the place. But
Yeah.
he did not fall back on that, to his credit. He initiated a apostolic visitation to every parish in the diocese at the beginning of his administration. So this involved coming to a place, to a parish, having dinner with the parish staff on Saturday night, him preaching at every Mass on the weekend, and then having an open parish meeting on Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
So, I mean, with a little bit of Germanic precision, he laid this out. It took him like 4.5 years to do this.
Wow.
He started, oddly enough, with the one place he should have known best, St. Brendan's in Clifton, where he had been a curate. But every spring and every fall, he would pick like 8 parishes and donate a weekend to these places and visit.
This is also while he I don't know.
While he's doing everything else. Right?
Well, he did every confirmation.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we used to joke that his knowledge of the guest rooms of the diocese was because he had slept in every single one of them.
Kind of like Washington.
Yes. He would go even the places in Paterson. He was living 10 blocks away from them, but he would go and sleep overnight in the rectory.
Wow.
So he got a flavor of every place.
Yeah.
I was privileged. I was his secretary for part of that period, so I went on maybe a dozen of these with him, and it was eye-opening, for me.
Sure.
But I think even for him, you think every place, but
until you stay overnight,
until you sail in, and it gave you an idea of the variety of the diocese. Like St. Thomas in Sandyston,
yes,
did not have running water at that point.
Wow.
In the church,
Wow.
You had to bring water for Mass.
Wow.
And there were sheep out in the distance, making noise. Then you went from there to Our Lady of Victories in downtown Paterson,
yes.
And you never mind the ethnic places that
yes.
He visited. So
now, did the bishop's secretary have to stay overnight?
You could if there was room.
Yeah.
But we, more often than not, we ran back and forth. The diocese is not that that big. But, you got to see the style of pastors. We would try and create a little a sheet for him beforehand.
Oh, a prep sheet.
Kind of, what is the background? What is the size?
What are you getting into?
Yeah. But then he would make notes along the way as he was going through this. And, those are fascinating because the variety, the diversity, and some of the things you would not suspect unless you actually went to the place. I remember him commenting at St. Thomas More, right here at Convent Station, that standing in the back of the church and looking at the congregation from the back,
yes,
you would presume that the name of the local public high school was Del Barton.
Oh,
based on the number of athletic jackets that there were.
Yeah, interesting.
That's a detail you would not realize until you actually were there in person.
Yeah.
Or he had some very critical comments on how announcements were made.
Oh, wow.
In parishes, who was more threatening, who was more cajoling, who was more inviting.
Yeah.
So he got to see a slice of life that not even he
realized.
Actually.
Do you have those notes in the archives?
We probably do, yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, we should.
Wow,
yeah.
that would be so interesting to see.
But it was it introduced him to all the people of the diocese. Everybody who attended Mass in the Diocese of Paterson
Saw Bishop Rodheimer.
saw Bishop Rodheimer at least once in those 5 years.
The mission statement that he produced had 3 key components: to worship, to teach, and to serve.
Right.
And as you said, that's not really innovative. It's the 3 munera, the 3 duties of the bishop and the priest: to the priestly office to worship, the prophetic office to teach, and the royal kingly office to govern and shepherd.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the next time we get together, we're going to talk about what comes after that mission statement. The diocese gets involved in planning with Monsignor Mahoney, right, who at that point is responsible for planning and priorities. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how the diocesan structure evolves.
Yeah.
So join us
One of the
in our
things
next
that
episode.
he, came out pretty early in his administration, which he inherited from Bishop Nava, was the vision of the smaller parish. So he begins creating new parishes.
And we're going to talk about that. A parish hasn't been created for many years until Bishop Rodheimer.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.